The word zombie wasn't picked out of nowhere. There is a relation between the word zombie and the African name of Nzambi, which means God, the great serpent, the Le Grand Zombie, which was the father of all Eos or other gods and appeared in the shape of a python. Basically, there are two theories around the origin of the zombies. The first one states that a cursed person dies and returns as a zombie, and the second one says that a person is poisoned, exposed to radiation, or contracts a virus. Besides the zombies, we have another two dead monsters: vampires that are dead but not zombies, and mummies. They are not actually regarded as zombies because while zombies are in a constant state of decay, mummies are deliberately physically preserved. If you see a zombie, according to lore, the only way to kill one is by destroying its brain. You can also cut off its head or the bitey parts and it becomes less of a problem, like Michonne did with the ones that had no mouths and hands. Zombies could infect people while scratching, with viruses on their fingernails perhaps, and by biting, viruses transmitted via saliva. So blood or saliva. It's like an STD. Cutting one zombie's head off wasn't always the best solution. It could still bite. You could fall on its head, think that it's safe, and lose your footing, and there you go, you got bitten. And this even happened in history. Sigurd, son of Istinglurma, a leader of the Viking conquest of what is now northern Scotland, was killed by the severed head of Melbrigte, whom Sigurd defeated in battle but beheaded. He kept the head as a prize and tied it near his hip on his horse. Melbrigte's teeth started rubbing on Sigurd's leg, it reached blood, became infected, and Sigurd died. Because viruses are not independent living organisms and need a living organism to reproduce, a zombie virus could be considered a misnomer because zombies are generally thought to be dead. So a virus can live in a dead thing, meaning zombies are still alive. October the 8th is Zombie Day. In movies, zombies eat flesh, but not the whole person. Some critics theorize that zombies prefer the taste of human flesh if they can't taste anything, because warm human flesh may have to do with a zombie virus needing fresh DNA or some parasitic microorganism receiving some form of nourishment from live human blood cells. While the causes, character, or pace of zombies throughout written or filmed history has varied, one element links them all. They all have compromised brains. George R. Romero is often referred as the father of the modern zombie. He is widely viewed as the creator of the modern zombie cinema. He's written and directed more zombie films than anyone in history. My favorite zombie movie is his Land of the Dead. I think it's the scariest. His next movie is just being shot, going to be released in 2022 perhaps. Critics note that George R. Romero's zombie films are great because they use zombies as a device for social commentary. In other words, they are not movies about zombies, but rather about groups of human beings and how they react in crisis. Families turning on each other, modern conception of zombies. Zombies aren't new and aren't from the movies. Modern conception of zombie originally began with voodoo religion in the West African Yoruba tribe, and then traveled with captured slaves in the Caribbean island of Haiti, a busy slave center in the 1700s. To this day, there is a law in Haiti that makes it a crime to turn someone into a zombie. Article 249 states that if someone drugs another person, buries him as thought he were dead, and then digs the person up and brings him back to life, it's still considered murder. And there are zombie people in real life. The most famous real-life zombie is Haitian Clarius Narcisse. He claimed he has turned into a zombie by a combination of powerful neurotoxins and hallucinogens. He was thought to be dead for 5 years, but one day he reappeared and told his amazing story of how he was kidnapped and kept in a zombie-like state with drugs. A disease called yaws can actually make people like zombies. The disease causes painful, oozing sores on the face, arms, feet, and legs. The painful wounds on the bottom of the feet sometimes cause a sufferer to walk in a slow, zombie-like shuffle. Besides being able to move after they're dead, zombies do not have superpowers. In fact, zombies have fewer powers than they did when they were alive. Another way of saying zombie, a more scientific way, is RLF, reanimated life forms. In the case of a zombie outbreak, generic weapons are always preferable to custom or rare firearms with rarer forms of ammunition. Long swords are the best. None of that toothpick crap like in The Walking Dead. Wearing no-sleeved clothing. Being generally deaf. Using firearms that attract more zombies. Even though zombies are generally easy to be killed. Their only strength is in numbers, and numbers can rapidly be decreased. You can tell they're weak by their walk. The trademark zombie limp is because their bodies are affected by the same decomposition process as any normal corpse. Rigor mortis would cause serious tissue and muscle damage at the zombies each step, and since zombies do not regenerate or heal, any damage is permanent. Finally, a zombie's top speed would be reduced to a crawl, and perhaps even slow to the point where it could not even move, being nowhere near the sneaky sneaks from the movies that are just behind you in a fast pace. Coming back to vampires, while vampires are smart, immortal, fast, difficult to kill, and able to regenerate, zombies are slow, weak, dumb, easy to kill. Any wound or damage they receive is permanent, so in a fight between a zombie and a vampire, the vampire will always win, no matter the numbers, and in a fight between a human and a zombie, the human has no excuse of not winning. I have a 1-year-old that's trying to bite me, I can fight off that, and he has strong muscles, still can't reach blood. Zombies have weak muscles. If a zombie would try to bite you, its jaw should break, not break the skin. Still, zombie fans debate how long it would take a person who died from a zombie virus to reanimate. Theories put the moment of reanimation between a few minutes to several hours. As shown in the first season of The Walking Dead, experts note that in order to survive a zombie attack, it's really important to follow the next guidelines. Do not take shelter in a vehicle of which you do not have the keys. Do not enter the same vehicle, I might add, without checking the back seats or the footwell. There might be zombies or other enemies. Also, if it's warm, entering a car without the keys would mean that you are just cooking yourself. Do not leave weapons for the zombies to find. You will have to go in front of danger to get out of danger. Do not give your only weapon to a hysterical person. If it's a handgun, in the best case scenario, the person will just waste bullets and attract zombies. In the worst case scenario, the person will shoot itself, then you, and you will both be dead, not shot in the head, and of course nobody in your entire camp will hear that you died, and you will kill everybody. 4. Do not retreat to your basement without supplies or another way to get out of there. Do not get surrounded by zombies anywhere, especially in a car or elevator, and do not let personal emotions and anger impede survival. Some scientists say that a zombie apocalypse is not necessarily impossible to happen because humans are susceptible to neurotoxins, brain parasites, rear-rage viruses such as mad cow's disease, nanobots which can operate in a host even after the host has died, and neurogenesis. Also, parasitic fungus species, Ophicordyceps, effectively turns ants into zombies. A recent study found that the fungus can synchronize several ants to bite down simultaneously on the underside of a leaf and then die. The fungus then sprouts through the dead ants' bodies to be eaten and restart the cycle. This parasitical fungus was used as inspiration for the game The Last of Us. In that game, it was shown that the fungi infects people and transforms it into zombies with the sole purpose of replicating. In computer science, a zombie is a computer that has been taken over by a virus, a Trojan horse or a hacker. Most owners of zombie computers are unaware their computers have been compromised, and I'm ready to bet that 20% of my audience has a zombie computer. The top 10 safest countries for a zombie survival scenario in an outbreak, according to population density, geographic location, topography, armed population, and military preparedness, are the following. Australia, because it's a hot, fast-rotting place for zombies to be, is large, people do have weapons and are used to fighting snakes, spiders, they are ready for everything. Canada, also a large, cold country, zombies would just freeze up. United States, military preparedness, despite what the movies are showing. Russia, Kazakhstan, Bolivia, Norway, Finland, Argentina, and Sweden sharing similar traits. That's all for today. In the comment section below, please tell me what's your favorite zombie movie. Maybe I haven't seen it. I doubt that. I really like zombie movies. My favorite series at this point is Dark Summer. That's on Netflix. It takes all the nice parts of a zombie outbreak. It's really fast-paced, none of that drama BS of The Walking Dead. Things are happening fast. You have material to work with in a zombie outbreak series. You don't have to spend 40 minutes on feelings and rehashing the same story. People die really fast. You start liking people in like 10-15 minutes because they're really well developed. You don't need several seasons just to have a meaningless death. I'm looking at you, Jesus. That wasn't cool. That's all. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe. I like to thank everybody and anybody that watched the video. I'm Alex, and until next time, beware of falling apples.